Wig, did you just say wig?
Wig, okay.
I know, wig. I feel that already.
Wig, okay.
Wig, did you just say wig?
Wig, okay.
I am ready for my wig to go flying.
I am ready.
Are you ready?
Oh my! Are you ready? Are you ready?
What
This year is already terrible.
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 This is actually our first post 2021 episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were
It
supposed to
is.
do one last week, and then the world decided to end. So
Yeah.
the Capitol
Um,
got whatever happened. Coup.
Got a
How's
little
your
busy.
insurrection?
Let's actually introduce like our show.
Oh yeah, I'm Martyr,
I'm C Tepper.
and this is Wigging
Wigging
Out.
Out. We're still Glam Award nominated. I don't know when this episode comes out, but we will probably
Literally
still
this
be.
Sunday.
Yeah, but
this
what day
Sunday.
is that? The
Sunday.
17th. Everyone, you can still vote for us until the 20th. If you care about our podcast, please vote. Glam Awards. Thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome to our show.
Thank Well, happy New Year, Caitlin. What the hell are we doing today? What the hell's going on this day?
Who are we doing? That's
Who
how
are we
start every
doing?
episode.
Who
Who are
in
we doing?
conversation with us?
Today, I believe from Queens. I could be wrong. Are you in Queens? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Jackson Heights, Woodside.
Oh, there you go. In Queens. Coming all the way from Queens. It's Ducky Sheaboi or Sheaboi. Welcome.
Thank you so
Welcome,
much for
Dad.
having me.
Yay. Someone who
Thanks for-
voted for us. Yeah.
Oh, immediately. Right when it was an option, I was like, boom, done.
And you
Aw.
messaged it. I was like, all right, I guess you got to be on the show now.
I mean, it was a beautiful outcome of the vote, but it was more so just like, I really dig what y'all are doing. So.
Aw, I can't
Aw.
believe you listen. It always shocks me that people listen to it.
Yeah, same. I feel like we just kind of put these out into the void and hope. Like,
Yeah,
good
no,
things
literally
happen.
that. And like anytime anyone like comments or something, I'm just like, wow, someone listened.
Well, I mean, y'all got nominated, so must have
Yay.
Somehow.
something.
Somehow.
It's some miracle. Everyone, the Glam Awards are the 25th. Watch us maybe win. We can only win with your vote, so please vote. It's at glamorawards.net/voting.
And
Okay,
the voting is open to everyone, right?
Yeah,
there's-
everyone.
Yeah.
Every year, like they do a couple of categories that are open to the public, but this year is only 5 categories in total, so they just made it public for everybody.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Listen, I still want to win to say that I beat Bob the drag queen
I
at
know.
something. And then also we have a cute little acceptance video. We
did our video. It is something. That's all.
It
I
is
can
something.
say. I don't know if it's good, but it's something. But enough
something.
about us. We gotta shut up about ourselves. It's not about
I
us
know.
today. It's not one of our episodes about us. So we are still in a pandemic. How has your pandemic life been going, Ducky?
So there is a sense of new normal for sure. Like I have been training my whole life to stay the hell away from people in general.
Right?
Like, so I mean, early last year was, I mean, honestly, just pure terror. Just with this kind of like unknown thing kind of floating around. There were periods of times where when we were walking out into our lobby, like we were telling each other like, don't breathe, like, you know, like until you get outside. But yeah, I mean, it definitely has been beneficial to drag content as kind of like a silver lining. But yeah, I mean, just really focusing on how do I maintain. I've been fortunate. I work in a warehouse and I'm like running the warehouse and I'm the only one in a 10,000 square foot warehouse usually. Whoa. So I've been fortunate to where I have job security. But it has just been, I mean, like Woodside, the grocery stores, there was only one grocery store open for, I think it was a mile at one point, and the line was crazy. And I mean, there were a couple more, but it was like, like H Mart in Woodside, the lines were just out of this world. So it was just more about
Ugh.
accepting this is a reality, and then kind of forming that new normal. But yeah, I mean, I cried in 2020 more than I've cried. I'm not a crier. And it's just like, it is, and it's been a roller coaster. And I just definitely want to emphasize, like, this is a shared vibe for sure. And but yeah, like, it's just keeping up with y'all too. Like, it's very similar especially within the queer community, I feel like just all those spaces being gone.
Oh God, I know.
Yeah, and like, that was another doozy, was on Friday, March 13th, 2020, we just saw all of our bookings within a matter of hours that turned into a little bit more, like, the following Monday too, but just gone.
That's the day I lost my job. I know that day very well.
Yes. It's just like, that date is always going to be in my mind as like, whoa. Like,
I know, it's horrible.
But yeah, I mean, as far as the pandemic now, it's really just about maintaining the bubble and just accepting every day. You do have to accept a little bit more of the reality that we're in right now. For various reasons. But yeah, it's just, at this point, it's more about just like, okay, here it is. Let's just keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, we're all just kind of stuck here together, so.
Exactly.
And you stayed in New York. You're very lucky to have had job security because you're not originally from here.
Right. Originally from South Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So how was it growing up in South Carolina?
Well, that's a very interesting thing, because moving to New York, it really caught me off guard how quick people are to jump into conversations about the South with a Southerner.
Oh, really?
And I'm not talking, not in this.
No, I know. Yeah.
But just everyone is really adamant about having a Southern person confirm all of their fears about the South.
Really?
Is the impression that I get a lot of times.
Oh, wow.
And that's it. And like, yes, I can confirm everyone's fears. I can't. But growing up in the South, I really do have a narrative that, as a queer person, I was born in, I tell people I'm from Charleston, but I grew up in state in a town of 775 people, I believe.
Oh.
Hartsville, South Carolina, what's it called? NASCAR, not drag race. NASCAR.
Same thing.
Like that type of, like, cotton fields right beside the Walmart. Like, that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
But like, the thing that with Georgia turning blue, it really hit home for me, because like, when people ask me about growing up in the South, like, Black women, whether they be older or people in high school, like, that's where I found a soft spot growing up, and being different. Like, so I would just say, like, visibility in the South is difficult. But there are pockets of good, and I do feel like people do look out for each other. But yeah, I mean, all the stuff where, by the time you get to high school as a gay person, you do hear like, oh, you're gonna die because you're gay, kind of thing.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's very much my growing up experience in the South. Like, my friends and chosen family, and a lot of my actual family members too, like, provided those places of shelter, which in turn has made me a person where, embracing other people's suffering might not be convenient, like, as just a honest truth, like, everyone has their lives they're living, but just growing up in that type of atmosphere and having people express compassion for me growing up has made me a person where I can go into any room and talk to anyone. And like before I moved to New York, I went to culinary. I'm a trained chef. I went to culinary school.
What?
Ooh,
Yeah. I
you
cooked.
better cook us some dishes, girl. You told the wrong people this. We're coming over.
All kind of restaurants in Charleston, 4-star, 4-diamond.
Oh wow.
But because I was such a little country boy, even in Charleston, I was a country boy. My professors were telling me, "Oh, you want to move to New York? Drop the accent. You got to get rid of your accent."
No.
And I told them, I'm never gonna give up my accent, baby. Like this is.
It makes you so endearing.
I hope so, because some people.
Yeah.
That's the thing about.
I think so.
When moving here, like I felt like I had to prove myself to some people as being, it's kind of like, oh, they hear the y'all, they hear the draw and all that, and then they're like, okay, prove to us that you're like us and not them, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I get it. I do get it. Don't get me wrong. It was just kind of like culture shock in a way, I guess.
How did you end up in New York?
Well, so I visited New York like for a few days once before moving here. And before moving here, Patsy and me have been together since we were 18.
Oh, wow. And we'll talk a lot more about her later.
Yeah. But the gist there is we got married when we were, oh gosh, I think we were 22.
Oh my God.
And at that
so
time,
young.
Yeah. And at that time, on a federal level, same-sex marriage was being recognized, but on a state level, it was impossible. So we got married in New York City. And then came back down south for a little while, then moved here. And it was we weren't even doing drag at this time. Like we were very just like Charleston gays, had like a pack of girlfriends that we were running around with, being all crazy and everything. Definitely going to drag shows. Like
I know a lot of Southern from South Carolina, Queens. So it's funny.
Pageantry, honey. Like
oh yeah.
Very much
pageantry and Stacey Lane Matthews, because she has a big family down there.
Yeah, for sure. And like so yeah, we moved to New York just to kind of like broaden our job markets. And yeah, and it was just one of those things that honestly we were like, fuck it, let's move to the city. like
sounds like Martyr.
Yeah. No, I had a good excuse. Thank you very much.
You did have a good excuse. Did you have a question before? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've gotten this before. When you told someone here that you're from the South or South Carolina, have they said sorry?
Yeah.
You?
What? Is that a thing?
I get that a lot too.
Yeah. What? That's messed up. That's so messed up.
Like, and I know this is it's like, I don't know. I just firmly stand by, I eat pigtail, oxtail, collard greens, stewed tomatoes, all of it. And it's because the food history of the South, very much is connected to the complications and the evil that occurred there and still occurs. But it's just like, I'm not sad that I'm from the South. Like you don't, like people don't have to, one, necessarily jump to questioning a Southern person would be kind of one thing, but then also two, like and a lot of my friends and, Patsy's from South Carolina too. We talk about this a lot. Like there is a new South forming. It is not the majority. But just being able to see how those small changes really do amplify everyone's life, even if they don't recognize it. Just with these shifts in culture and like kind of reinvigorating businesses in small towns with some fresh ideas, it really does make an impact. And it's just like, Yeah, the sorry thing. Oh yeah, that is.
I can't believe people would say, I mean, I guess like, you know, we're kind of like jaded New Yorkers. So I'm New York City born and raised. So like when you hear about the South, it's usually not in a good context, but I would never think that way. Like just because you're from someplace to like,
Well, I get the double whammy of Southern.
well, you're from
and
Florida, so Florida
so-
sucks. So that's different. But and I can say that with love because I love Florida, but like there's definitely a lot of
Oh,
crazy people
I
there.
would sink the state in a heartbeat, but if
Yeah.
anybody
But
comes
we
for
can keep
her, I defend
Miami.
her.
We'll keep Miami and get rid of the rest.
So yeah, I sympathize with the Southern hate, but Southern pride. It's a
It's
weird
such a weird,
duality.
yeah, it's very strange.
Because yeah, I mean, but that idea of I'm a Southern person who wants to push boundaries a little bit,
Mhm.
like that's what brought us to New York. Not just
Yeah.
not just my kind of ambitious drive behind that, but also Patsy. Like Patsy is, which by the way, y'all are gonna have to schedule to get her onto this podcast.
Okay. I'm
Otherwise,
down.
she's gonna slice and dice me in my sleep. Like
Ooh.
she is all kind of wild. Like
Yay.
I was like, I'm starting to hop on the Zoom call, and she was like, okay.
We're always looking for guests, so I'm here for
Well,
it.
She would be an amazing one to have. Yeah, like New York, we've been here 6 years, 7 years.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
It's hard to make it in New York, so the fact that you're still here, especially during the pandemic, that like says a lot, I feel like.
I mean, I'm tired, but I'm here.
Try living here your
Preach,
whole
Mom.
life.
Preach, Mom.
So you moved to New York. So how did drag get involved with that? Because clearly it's been 3 years, so it had to have happened here.
Right.
Yeah.
So it definitely did. So in Charleston, we went to a club called Pantheon, like too much.
Mhm.
And just seeing the drag there, it really inspired me because yes, they did have the pageant girls, but they also had just such a variety of kind of gender expression come through as well. Like it was just a
Oh,
very
interesting.
well-rounded club scene.
Mhm.
And you know, watching that for so many years and then coming here and then kind of seeing how the bars they do get crowded, but at the same time, I feel like in New York, it is a little bit easier to kind of get a sense of a bar because the space is smaller.
Mhm.
And just,
Oh yeah, New York City bars. Like I didn't realize because I'm born and raised here. It's not till I like left and like went to like Florida or like LA, places like that. Like the bars are so big.
yeah.
And here it's like tiny, but you're just so used to it here. Like I don't think about it, but
It's
it
like
is crazy.
Code, what is that? Like New
Yeah.
York, there's no such thing.
Well, like anytime there's a women's bathroom at a gay bar, I'm like so shook. Just so shook because like they actually have room for more than one stall. It's just surprising to me.
But yeah, like once we got into New York, kind of just remembering what we were exposed to as far as the drag scene in Charleston. We moved originally to Brooklyn, and the building that we lived in was just like batshit crazy. Like it was just so crazy. Patsy was making a $500 stipend every 2 weeks.
Oh.
And I started my job and everything, but like basically when we first got here, there was no room for like, you know, stunting, trying to turn a look, none of that. And, you know, like none of that. But then we moved to Astoria. And, you know, by then it was a few years into it and we kind of like had, you know, we had a rhythm of all the New York bills and taxes and everything that we were getting ourselves acquainted to. And we went to Icon and we saw Boudoir, we saw Heidi, we saw Misty Mountains, like, and Icon reminded us of the spot in Charleston that we would go to because it was such a diverse just cast of performers that would come through. And then I started remembering like something in my head was like, okay, do you want to be the one at a party who's sitting down, or do you want to be the one at a party who's dancing? For some reason that came into my mind a lot when we were watching drag after we moved to New York. And Patsy had kind of like, through going to events and everything, she had started to get back. She's always done cross-dressing and a little bit of this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But definitely, like, I finally just made up my mind that I wanted to be the person who was dancing at the party, and I was tired of, like, my mom early on, as a, you know, more so like as a teenager, like, very restrictive on like, oh no, you can't wear that. Like, it's too femme, you can't wear that. So, but it's just like, I've always loved, I was just like, oh, something sparkly or a little,
Yeah.
you know? And so I was like, fuck it. You know, my friend has a studio time booked through her school. And so my first Bushwig look, which was just like AliExpress horns and like this like dress, you know, little pink eyeshadow, let's go to the girls. Like,
Bushwick's a place to do that though.
Yeah, for sure. That was like getting the toes wet. But we did a little photo shoot and then we started throwing parties.
Oh.
And we would have people dress in drag. We would have themes. And we had a friend that would make freshly kegged beer. And like the apartment would end up having like 100 people in it.
Dang.
So
I hope you were charging everyone.
Oh no, it was just a whole hot mess. It was just
you could have been making bank like $10 a head or something.
I wish. And then around the time that we were having the parties, Iconic season 1 came up.
Yeah.
And this is probably one, I'm so ashamed of this. Like, so it's not about Iconic, but it's
okay.
Exposed to me being like the idea of Iconic. Okay. So there was one night before the competition really got, you know, announced or whatever, but we put on some busted, like going to the bar, hold on to your britches girl kind of drag. And Heidi Ho was there.
Yeah.
Filming, and we just like, it was just this instant connection. Like, she was so much fun. But then she pulled the drag queen thing of, do y'all know Lady Marmalade?
Oh no.
And I didn't know it, but I wasn't.
You didn't?
No, but
what?
I wasn't gonna tell her I didn't know it. So the music starts. I have no clue what's going on. And I'm just like down on the floor, you know. Trying. That was the perfect example of trying. And then, but it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
It was just stupid and so fun. And then they said, you know, Iconic season 1. I was like, hey, could I like try that? And she told me just try to do some more open stages and then apply. And I did that, and then I got in.
Yay.
So I performed a few times, like I'm talking like 4 times max before season 1 of Iconic, we hit the stage, and now I'm a drag queen. Like,
yay.
I guess so.
My last question before we go to break is, how did you get your drag name?
So I will say, whenever we were first like kind of formulating our drag personalities, like I was a little bit more promiscuous. And, you know, just cutting the shit. And we were talking to a dude, and I was like, hey, so like, what would your porn name be? Or what type of porn would you do? But then the question got turned on me. And I was like, you know what? I was like, if we're gonna get into it and we're gonna do and get paid, all that, I was like, okay, I would need some rubber. I want some latex. I want all the like, all the things, you know. And I was like, I was like, my porn name would be Ducky instead of Rubber Ducky. And then I was like, Ducky, oh, that's really cute. That has like a cute little sound to it. And then I Googled it, and it's like, in Europe, that's like, Ducky is like another cute little term for gay. So I was like, okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I'm loud as fuck, so it works.
Yeah. And were you just like, I'm a boy? So
well, Sheaboi, like I was telling you a little earlier, I wanted Sheaboi to have a little French finesse to it, so I was going for Sheaboi.
Sheaboi.
But that didn't happen. And Sheaboi was the play on words anyway.
Yeah.
So people just went with Sheaboi, and Sheaboi comes from, it's just like all of these years of being aware that I like to play with gender expression and, you know, all these things, and like hearing, you know, like me and my gay friends in high school would just like, that's how we would talk, like, she a boy, she a this, she a that. And it was just like, I was like, all right, so we'll go for it. And I don't know, she a boy, I like it. It's just like, I wanted a name that, it has finesse, but I wanted something with a little bit of an accent, you know, like a little something to
Wow.
it.
You'll always be Sheaboi to me.
Sheaboi. On that note, I think we should take a little break.
Yeah,
we'll
we
be
got
right back,
some
kids.
hot little things to talk about.
Sounds
Come
good.
back.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm so excited. All right, kids. Bye.
Bye.
Wig, okay.
I know. Wig. I feel that already.
Wig, okay.
Wig. Did you just say wig?
Wig, okay.
I am ready for my wig to go flying.
And we're back.
We're back.
Oh my god. That was such a long break, y'all. It's been like 6 hours.
Remember the time we did a break and it was like a week later we recorded?
When was that? I don't
I think that
remember
was
that.
DeVoe or somebody. Yeah, that was DeVoe.
Oh, it was
like
DeVoe.
an entire week between
yeah.
segments.
Her phone died. Yeah, that was I just remember that. Gaggy. Anyways, we're back.
Welcome back. We're still here
Ducky.
with Ducky.
Yeah, we're still here with Ducky. Oh my god. So you mentioned your partner, Patsy. How about you give us a little introduction to that?
Oh gosh, how much time do y'all have?
We got time, girl. We're actually good on time.
So Patsy and Decline, aka Josh. We've been together since we were 18. Patsy's sorry.
No worries.
Ooh, huh.
Keep that in the show, Martyr.
But yeah, so where was I? Oh, so Patsy's also from South Carolina. We met in college.
Where'd you go to college?
I popped around colleges a little
That's
bit.
a lot of people. Yeah.
But we met at the Art Institute, and I was going through a breakup, but then when Josh walked in, like this little like outdoor seating area of the school, I was like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? And then yeah, basically just been together since like a week after that, like the first.
Oh
like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's fast.
That's really cute.
But yeah, like Josh, you know, an artist, he paints, he works in education, he works up in Harlem, and just like he's operations, so he really is like the back end of helping the school, whether in person or virtual, just keeping the wheels rolling. And then Patsy, so Patsy got her drag name from Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
Patsy Cline is, well, Josh was born in Virginia, and Patsy and him shared that connection. And then the InDecline is because Patsy's just, especially earlier Patsy, was just a hot mess.
Did her cards?
Yeah, there's no other way of explaining Patsy other than a mess. But to be serious, also Patsy is like this glam Hollywood little bobblehead baby doll, big old hair, tall, glamour, and opinionated.
How does it work that you're both drag queens? I usually hear there's a lot of egos when it's like two people who also do drag.
Yeah, I mean, egos definitely happen, but it's more so like we've just always gotten a sense of like, okay, this is an idea, and then this is how the idea can happen. So it's always been a team effort. And more so since Michael's been introduced into it, and we've been working with him for basically like 1.5 years now.
Yeah. So who is Michael before we continue?
Yeah, so Michael is our hair and makeup artist, also lives with us. We're actually all in a relationship together.
Aww.
And yeah, so, but just like, y'all, like, it's crazy because he's this quiet Japanese dude, but he has like assisted Naomi Campbell and Hathaway, like all of these, like he's done things in Japan too. Like, I mean, he was there's a huge Japanese boy band, Arashi, and they just disbanded, but like he was on TV with them, and of course like in the background, but he was like walking around New York styling this man's hair. Like it's just he's a hair god. Like he is just all things hair. And like me and Patsy are like this manic, crazy energy, and he's just very much more like kind of like stays the same as far as his energy. And it's just like, it's very much like the way that we all combine our like thinking power, creative power. Like it just really, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, Style by Michael on Instagram, if anyone from Michael. And I mean,
the most beautiful, amazing wigs that I've ever seen in person.
It's just like, it's next level. Like he can just put some rollers in the hair and then comb it out, and then it's just, I know there's obviously more to it than that, but it's just like, it's effortless somehow for him. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous work.
And like for me and Patsy, like we've always, even before we like started applying the makeup to the personality, these personalities have always been there.
Yeah.
So, and it's just like, and I know probably, and I'm going to speak on this real quick, because I am sure that there are some queens out there that have commented on this before. I am not interested in knowing how to do my own makeup at all.
You and Martyr both.
I don't. Like honey, RuPaul who? Like I'm here to give a show. I'm here to raise money. I'm here to like keep the drag thing rolling, and having someone apply our, like, you know, like we always meet and talk about what the look will be like. But it's just like that sense of like all of us having this partnership that it's not just based on drag, but when it's like focused on drag, like why am I going to learn how to do all that? I don't need to do all that.
You're lucky you have someone who could just do it for you. I wish I had someone do it for me.
It's a really like surreal thing, just how it all worked out. Like we all met at Bushwig. Also,
of course,
Aya, who is also our stylist, she has a company called DD NYC, which is Dolls Domination NYC, and like she is just so good at like making something like glamour, like glamour, yes, but also like edgy. So just all of those forces combined, and like we're always planning something. Like we're always like, there's no way that we're going to get together and not talk about next steps or something like that.
That's kind of a reason why I definitely wanted you on the show, because I like queens who hustle, and I feel like you're definitely one of those types of queens who will hustle and just keep going no matter what. Like no one's going to stop you.
Well, I mean, the thing is like New York bars definitely settle on a certain roster, and then they just the Rolodex, and that's fine. I was more interested and bringing drag to venues that you wouldn't necessarily associate drag with, like breweries or a more straight crowd, but still a fabulous bar. And also, like, Queens has been very good to us. You know, whether it be with bookings or meeting other drag performers. It's just, I mean, to put it bluntly, just some of the Manhattan bullshit I don't have time for.
Yep. There's plenty of that to go around.
And that's not like calling out a queen or a specific bar. It's just like some of it is just like, y'all, like we could do a little something different.
I agree with you on that one. So you've produced 20 unique shows together. What could someone expect at like a drag show with you guys?
Definitely a lot of energy, a lot of funny yet abrasive moments. Definitely gonna have a lot of crowd engagement, games, performance, you know, whether it be duets or solos. And also just, we like to showcase drag in a way where, like, we like to tell stories when we build our set list or whatever for the night. And, you know, like working with queens like Frida Kahlo and Victoria Williams, like they definitely like build out a very full story with their drag. And so, yeah, just storytelling too is something that can be expected. It might not be the type of story you're anticipating, but there's a story.
No, I really appreciate that. I definitely want to see a show once this world gets its shit together.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's been, if you would have asked me if I would have been like seriously getting on IG lives and stuff, like, no. If 2020 and COVID and all that hadn't happened, like, we would have still been chasing the booking fees at restaurants, bars, that type of thing, you know? Yeah. So it's been a game changer for sure. But it's been really cool seeing how Team Japan has gotten even stronger because of it. Because, like, you know, like, we type out schedules and filming things. Like, it's very much like a production. And I mean, the end goal, like, I love New York, but if Japan called with the booking, I would be out of here in a minute.
Well, Japanese culture has such a rich history of drag. So I don't see why you couldn't go over there. Why not?
Oh, it's a matter of time. Like, and that's not saying that, you know, like, TV's calling or anything like that, but it's just like,
I think there's a more of an appreciation of the art over there as well.
Yeah. They, on their TV shows, they like to get a little weird. And so I think we would fit in perfectly. And just, like, Japanese culture. Like, I started teaching myself Japanese in 3rd grade.
Oh, wow.
And just ever since 3rd grade, like, it's really just been part of my everyday life. And just, I don't know how we're going to get there, especially right now. But, you know, if TV calls, well, we would figure it out.
Yes. I mean, you should just reach out and see if any bars are doing anything once, you know, the world gets back to normal.
Based on videos I was seeing, because Japan's one of the, if not the only Asian country that celebrates New Year's based on the solar calendar. So, like, they have the same New Year's as we do.
Okay.
And some of the videos from the bars in Tokyo during New Year's, like, people were taking money out of each other's mouths.
Yes.
And it was, like, happening a lot. And it's just like, y'all, like, let's stay home a little longer.
Well, I feel like Japan is like one of the few countries that, like, you know, everyone pretty much wears masks and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, they like really brought their COVID cases down.
Yeah, but it's just like, well, maybe not.
Yeah, I know. Be careful, everyone. And so you guys, Team Japan, started a YouTube channel and you used Japanese TV style edits. What does that mean? What is a TV style edit that's Japanese?
So Japanese TV edits to where they do include subtitles, because without subtitles, Japanese can get confusing as far as like how fast people are speaking on TV. Because a lot of words sound this like the exact same, but it depends on how the characters are written for the actual meaning. And it also just adds like it's very much, it's not like the standard subtitles. It's very much like a flash of color, you know, big shadow text or something like that. And for as far as Japanese TV, but we do have kind of more standard subtitles on our YouTube channel, but with kind of like the background effects from the TV shows. So the goal with that is we're speaking English mostly, so that our US viewers and English speakers can, you know, just watch and understand. But then the Japanese subtitles opens up a whole other route of possibilities, because Japanese people can then reference the subtitles. And that one thing that like it's more of a self-confidence thing is like getting on in front of a camera and speaking Japanese with Aya has been like, because your brain is like thinking about so many other things, like where's my light, like you know, like all these like drag related things, and then it's like, oh, now I have to switch between Japanese and English. So that's been really interesting. But yeah, it's mostly just a way to kind of like broadcast to Japanese viewers and like see where it goes.
Okay. What's your channel? Where can they find you for the YouTube? Yeah,
if you Google YouTube Ducky and Patsy, it'll pop up, and then Ducky and Patsy as well on for the channel name on YouTube.
Okay. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about the YouTube and all your like online endeavors after we take our little break.
We'll be right back, kids.
Wig,
Bye.
Wig, okay.
I know, Wig. I feel that already.
Wig, okay.
Wig, did you just say wig?
Wig, okay.
I am ready for my wig to go flying.
And we're back.
We're back.
We just had a lovely deep
We had a
dive
moment.
into,
Man.
a lovely deep dive
into RuPaul's videography.
Yes. Thank you to the kind folks at Reddit for notifying me about this video. I was completely distracted when we mentioned Japanese TV and I went on a deep dive, but here we are, kids. We're back.
I don't think we should even promote it. It's out there.
It's out there. We're not going to say the name of the video. How about that?
But it is RuPaul related. Approved by RuPaul.
Apparently.
So we were talking a lot about Japan. Do you have any like favorite Japanese things like food or anime or movies?
Yeah, totally. So probably one of my favorite things that is always in my bag. I have a Japanese version of it's Japanese feng shui, and it like gives you like just like advice on how to increase your luck basically throughout the day. It's like it like old ladies in Japan use.
Oh my god, I need one.
It's just like it's like a daily anchor. I don't know.
I love that.
And, like Japanese music, Japanese pop music is a mixed bag. Like it can be like the cute stuff is like, sure, watch it on TV, whatever. But I like older Japanese music. And then also my favorite genre right now of Japanese music is called enka.
Okay.
And this music is like the vocals get very like guttural and like very like a lot of emoting. But the lyrics are like kind of like old school Japan, which is like nostalgic feeling, very nice. But what I learned recently was this music started originally because politicians in Japan weren't allowed to give speeches. So they would hire these singers to give the speech through a song. And then that's how this music has continued. But the politicians can now like you know, be a little more active and vocal
Mhm.
and everything, but the style of music survived. But yeah, I think as far as like favorite movie, there's it's a little bit older now, but it's called Shinobi.
Okay.
And it's, I think in English that means spy, but it's like this like romantic, like fantasy, like ninja inspired movie, and like it's just so good. And my ultimate diva, Hamazaki Ayumi, sings the theme song, so it's a winner.
Yes.
Are you familiar with City Pop at all?
City pop group, is that a group?
No, it is a genre of Japanese music. I'm obsessed with
No,
it.
no.
Sort of similar to the genre you just mentioned. It's very nostalgic, and it was sort of focused in the 80s, and it's made to invoke like a nostalgic feeling for the listener. It's a lot of fun. It's very like it's like Japanese culture doing 80s music of the West. It's
Oh
like
my
so
god.
fun. It's so fun. It's so good. I listen
Do
to
they
it all
sing
the
in
time.
Japanese or English?
They sing in Japanese usually.
Oh, city pop. Okay,
Yeah.
I need something new, so that's perfect.
Um, obsessed. That was like literally my summer jam this whole past year was like City Pop. So recommendation.
We were talking about your YouTube channel. Where can people currently see you? Like, what's the best way?
So just as far as like live shows or just like in general?
Everything.
Okay.
All of it.
So we aim to do a virtual live show at least once a month, aiming to either do IG Live or through a streaming platform. We've kind of, we have a show that we'll be announcing pretty soon that'll happen on February 20th. And we're going to do like StreamYards and just kind of like mix up the platform a little bit. But definitely monthly virtual lives, and then YouTube. Aya is kind of like the creative director behind, you know, like the Japanese games that we're playing. So she's always like, we always need new videos. So definitely YouTube. And then for kind of like a condensed version of everything, just my IG page in general at Ducky_Sheaboi. But yeah, I would say if someone's interested in just kind of like getting the gist of our drag plus, you know, where to find us, our Instagrams for sure. And then also just going to throw out at Miss_Patsy69 because she also has an Instagram page and information available too.
Yay.
Cute.
I'm like, who wants to do the next question?
Is it my turn?
It's not your turn yet. I
Excuse
don't
me.
know if you
Back into
if you wanted to do it though.
Back in the audio corner I go. Go ahead, Kate.
No, that's why I was asking. I was like, do you want to do the next question too?
Sure.
Because your turn. So Martyr knows his turn is like one very specific question, but this is the question before that one. I just didn't know if you wanted to do it or not.
Yeah, I'll ask. What is some of the best advice you've been given in drag or about drag?
So early on, definitely learning about booking fees before you do the show, that kind of thing. But I feel like honestly, like everyone, the longer you stay in drag and like the more you pursue it, you're going to hear things about the money. But a big takeaway recently, as far as advice, 2020 Pride, you know, there's a difference between being supportive and not really talking about how you're supportive versus like authentically broadcasting and letting people know, like, you know, these are the receipts, these are where things are going. And that was really important to me because like it makes me so sad to see how some queens in the industry, especially the further up they go up the ladder, if you will, how they're tone deaf. And it's like they're not taking the opportunity to be more than just a toot or a boot. And it's like that's probably just the most current advice that life's given me and that I would give to other people about drag. If you're going to do drag, it needs to maybe not automatically, like give yourself time to figure out, if you're new to drag, figure out your drag personality 100%. But it's more about like, what are you going to do with your platform? And how are you going to tell people authentically that this is what you're doing? Yeah, because Pride last year, like, it was rough. We all know it was
Yeah.
a really,
What would you say your platform is?
So our platform is definitely just, I got asked this question in a way when doing Iconic, like, who is Ducky? Why does Ducky do drag? That kind of thing. And it was an honest answer, but I didn't realize how big it was going to impact me. But the platform that I am able to present to people is the community that I'm part of and that I'm proud to be part of. There are more times than not where when it's safe and everyone's able to get together, I mean, we just naturally have found a way to have a very diverse chosen family, and not feeling like we have to like package it or like push diversity that way to viewers or anything, but it's just something that like has naturally unfolded. And like my platform really is like, drag is a bridge for community. And if it's not a bridge to community, if it's all about ego and like how much you're spending on this, that, and the other, or, you know, like, oh, I have a weekly show, you know, like, that's not good enough. I'm saying that, and I also believe that. So my platform is community and just how to mobilize that community to where, and I'm a big believer in nonviolence and just mobilizing our community and where it intersects with so many other people, like, and mobilizing that community and putting it to good work.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
I'm 100% with you on that.
Yeah, that was really cute and really nice to hear, because I feel like a lot of messages go over people's heads sometimes. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I definitely think a lot of drag is just very egocentric.
Well, it's
I have no
okay.
idea what you're talking about.
Looking at you, Martyr.
It's okay to lean into ego some. I feel like that's just part of building up self-esteem a little bit, is like harnessing our egos. But it's going to be such a better experience for everyone if people can alter that a little bit and just focus on delivering a nice, polished, well-rounded show that
Absolutely
has a little more political pull than just, am I a toot or a boot?
Is it my turn, Caitlin? Can I come out of my corner?
I let you out of the corner one time.
Okay. My one good question of the evening. Ducky, what is the craziest moment you've had in drag? Give us some scandal, give us some insight, give us something memorable.
Well, I would have to say the moment where I was like, this is what I want to do. So it was Iconic. And it was the week before, as far as like, you know, theme and what we were supposed to deliver or whatever, I was just at a complete loss because I was trying to incorporate Japanese, and then I was getting like some negative feedback about it because, you know, cultural appropriation is definitely a thing to consider.
Yeah.
But it was just like not being able to explain, not having the words to be able to explain what I was going for. So like I switched my song last minute, and like it was fine. I knew the words, you know, I delivered a little moment, but it was more like she's performing at the bar and not in a competition kind of moment. And the notes were boring was a word. And I I've worked on my temper. I have a temper. But when I was told that I was boring, I was like, fuck that. Like, fuck that. I'm not here for that because I'm not boring. And so the following week, I already had a little bit of this plan, but I amped it up.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to do like celebrity impersonations. So I picked Paula Deen. And I got my little granny wig and did my best attempt at like making my face look aged and all that, little denim snap dress and some titties up underneath. And like, I went ham on that stage. I had a corn cob that I dipped in butter, like a big old container of butter.
Yep.
Throated the corn.
Yes.
And at that time, she did not swallow. So I spit the corn, or I spit the butter. It was towards the judges, towards the producers, towards the audience. I was giving everyone the bird. And then I took out my, like, just like, they were like $30 or something, just not really like, it's not like the chest plate. It was just like kind of like floating, you know, like turkey or chicken breast kind of looking things.
Yeah.
And, like, just smack those around and everyone was gagged. And like, but just being at the point where I was like, I don't care anymore, and spitting. And obviously I've never done that since, because like, you get a reputation like that, you're not going to get bugged.
Yeah, that's true.
Spit on people. But at that point I was like, I'm probably going to go home, so I'm just going to do it. But that was probably the most free I have felt in my entire life. Like, it was just like the adrenaline of looking at the people who are judging you and just like unleashing like slick melted butter out of your mouth and spitting at them. It's like, my friends got it in their hair, in their purses. I mean, the producer, Lindsay, God bless her soul, like she was like wiping butter off her face, like, and I don't think I ever, and understandably, like, the Ducky that is on Instagram right now is not the Ducky that was at this competition.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I was not in the top or anything, but that night I felt like y'all should have put me in the top. I want to go on record and say that. Like,
how did you do in Iconic? I don't even know who won that season.
Nicolonoscopy won season 1.
Okay.
I had to basically drop out right before the finale because our cat was like, one of our cats, he's a little bit of a big fellow and just always had a little bit of, you know, some health issues. And he was really going through it. And I was like, I was like popping down the base makeup and I was like, I can't go to a bar and act like I'm partying and celebrating. Like, even if I don't like get placed or anything, like, you know, that party atmosphere.
Yeah.
So I dropped out, but the whole, like, do I think like I did I deliver beautiful, exceptional looks? Absolutely not. Like, no, that's just, I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
But I met some amazing queens that I still talk to this day, like Sissy Watkins,
who we saw yesterday.
Yeah. And also, probably the biggest takeaway was that's when we realized, like, we can get people to a bar. Like, Patsy did season 2 and we consistently had just like the drink ticket votes. Like, we always had a stack. So that was good.
Great. That's such a huge, honestly, especially like with live drag, that's like the number one thing that you need.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I did Paula Deen, that was the night that I got tipped the most throughout the competition.
Oh.
So, I mean, they must have liked getting a little greased up. What can I say?
Yeah, no, that's like, it doesn't matter really how good of a performer you are, is can you get people to show up to your shows when you're doing live stuff? I feel like that's like the most important thing. So you got that, gal. So going from Iconic to the future, where do you want to take your drag in the future? What's your goal?
Well, and I mean, I will say, like, since Iconic, we have done, I feel like I personally have exceeded all expectations as far as drag, just because there wasn't really ever a true, like, planned goal necessarily, but now that we have kind of more of a plan with incorporating Japanese themes and really just revamping how we're doing the virtual shows and all of that. I mean, for now, well, the future is definitely virtual, and we're comfortable with that. I've worn heels in like the past year. I think I've worn heels twice. I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah.
Great. But as far as the future, I'm kind of at the point where if and when COVID really becomes, you know, if it becomes the common cold, like I read,
obsolete,
whatever, like we're not there yet, but really just at the point of like, why not just tour Asia? Why not like pack some wigs and just like live life instead of, you know, just having this idea of what a New York City drag queen is supposed to be? Why not do that in Japan or Vietnam or Taiwan, you know? Like
absolutely.
So, you know, we're definitely always considering next steps, and like, who knows? It's either disappearing virtually, you'll still see the whole thing on Instagram to Asia move, or it's like move out somewhere in nature and like instead of a virtual live show, you'll just get us like in drag gardening or something, you know?
Love.
Such extremes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the future. The future is always an extreme, in my opinion. Like, it's just like, it's right now, like focusing on the steps that we're presently doing, I think will kind of give way to, and it's not, I feel like this is good for everyone to consider too. It's like, not just within drag, it's just like the more we're able to focus on the present, our future is going to be better in a way. That's not to me, don't completely disregard the future, but it's just like, see what the present builds up to.
Yeah. I'm definitely with you on traveling. Like, I just like the idea that I could go somewhere, and right now that's not happening.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Japanese government is really wanting to boost tourism once COVID's over, and I heard they're gonna like have incentives to travel there. So
I want to go to Nintendo World so bad, and Universal Tokyo or whatever. I want to go so bad.
Well, I mean, it's coming to Orlando, but go
Oh,
on.
it is?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I gotta tell Patrick. He'll freak out.
I guarantee you the one in Japan's gonna be better though. They'll have like,
I agree.
100%.
Free snacks.
Well, I want to also do Disney Tokyo.
Yeah.
Or Tokyo
same.
Disney.
And Disney Tokyo was one of the first like kind of like mainstream locations in Japan to have same-sex ceremonies. So that's pretty cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
You know, like, it's Japanese culture is just quiet as far as really sexuality in general. Like, it's so, but that further makes queer culture and everything more quiet, because if it's already taboo to talk about sexual things, getting to where you can talk about queer sexual identity is just like, it's just the mental space isn't quite there yet. But that's the beautiful thing about Japanese culture. It's like, that's this very firm, traditional, stoic culture, but then you turn the news, you know, you turn the page on the news, and then like there's a lesbian couple in like this huge gown getting married, and it's like, see, like, you know.
Yeah. That's awesome. that's the takeaway from this episode.
Japan is awesome. I'm probably gonna put that as the bio. Japan
that should be our first line, you know.
Okay.
You know, when we do the description, that'll be the first line.
Beautiful. Love that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ducky, for coming on our little show.
Yay. Thanks for voting for us.
Again,
Of course.
thanks for voting for us.
Doing what y'all are doing.
Yay.
For one more time, for the kids, where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, okay. So YouTube, just search Ducky and Patsy. And then you can find me on Instagram at Ducky Sheaboi. That's SHEABOI.
Everything will be in the bio or the description on
Yeah.
the episode.
And we
so,
do lots of
yeah.
tagging.
Yes, we do. But yeah, this was so much fun. It was good to see you. I'm Martyr.
I'm C Tepper.
And this was Wig It Out. Don't forget to vote for us at the Glam.
You have 3 more days from this episode. 3 days. We need your votes. No one cares about us except you
We
guys.
need to beat Bob the Drag Queen.
We need to wear wigs in our acceptance speech.
Okay. Bye, kids.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm C Tepper. You can follow me on Instagram at CTEPPER and read my book, The State of Drag, where I interviewed 175 drag queens from around the world. All proceeds go to charity on Amazon.com.
Ooh, I love that. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Drag the Martyr. And if you have any thoughts, comments, dick pics, send them to dragthemartyr@gmail.com.
Listen, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Pandora.
And catch up with past episodes on WERRRK.com. That's WERRRK.com. Artwork for Wigging Out was provided by Glitter Baby Online. That's Glitter Baby Online. Thank you.